I think a lot of people are genuinely working to be healthier right now, but the wellness industry has kind of made it confusing. Anytime there's something to sell, people are going to sell it. People realize that and recognize that a dollar can be made. And so they're going to go out and try and make it. And as people have desired to become more healthy and work to reduce their risk of chronic illness and improve their quality of life as they get older, people want to sell solutions to that. And nobody's going to make a lot of money telling people to eat more broccoli and chew their food better. So people are offering up other fun, more exciting solutions. And I think sometimes this is, instead of helped people, has actually made them just feel more confused and frustrated in their journey to feel like the best versions of themselves. And sometimes the foods people are spending the most energy worrying about, you guys hear me say this quite a lot, aren't actually the biggest issue that they even need to be focusing on. So today, I want to walk you guys through some foods and wellness products that sound really healthy, and maybe you're working to really intentionally include more of these things in your diet on a daily basis, but they may not actually be helping you as much as you think. Hi everyone, my name's Katie Lovett. I'm a registered dietitian. I am the owner of Nourished and Thrive Nutrition Counseling and your host here on the Nourished and Thriving Show. Thank you so much for being here. Make sure you go give this video a like, subscribe to our channel so that we can help reach more people. We really appreciate your support of our show and our efforts to help people be the healthiest versions of themselves. So why does this happen? Why are people getting sold to and taking action towards things that require a lot of time, energy, and money, but ultimately don't get people where they want to be at the end of the day? Why is this happening? Well, humans, I love humans. We're cool, right? We have changed over time, and we've been created in a way that makes us want to avoid discomfort. We want to survive. We want to thrive. We want our species to not go extinct. And so one of those kind of subconscious survival things that we do is avoid discomfort. And unfortunately, sometimes this avoidance of discomfort actually creates patterns and habits that make us less healthy, actually. So it ends up doing the opposite of what our bodies are really wanting us to do. It can look like people wanting a shortcut, either consciously or subconsciously here. It can look like this optimization culture that you guys hear me talking about a lot, where people are, wanting to hack something and optimize this and, shortcut that, whenever really the foundational things that make the biggest difference just aren't getting done because they're boring, to put it really bluntly. People also can get some health anxiety through all of this. I've seen moms, right? It's big in the mom community. We love our kids. We love our kids so much. We want what's best for them. But there's so much conflicting information out there around food and lifestyle and nutrition and supplements that can really put us into this spiral for our kids, our loved ones, ourselves, of what's the best thing, what's the right thing that I should be doing. It seems like everything has downsides. You think you find a solution, you think you find a path forward, and then you hear an influencer online sharing a research article about, well, this has been documented to show, to have this effect on somebody that's negative, and then you're like, oh gosh, well, now I'm back to ground zero. Where have I gotten? And we can just really spiral with this, and it can create a lot of health anxiety. I've seen this in my practice before. And then this wellness marketing, where people are really out to run a successful business, capitalism, right? But whenever they're marketing health and wellness products, there is also this lasting impact on our health. And this, it's different, right? It's different whenever someone's selling a health product or a service and a designer bag or a perfume, right? It's a different kind of impact on your life. And so I think it's really difficult to know who to trust, to know what information to listen to, and all of that. And a lot of the time people are focusing on these tiny details and they're really missing the bigger picture. They're missing out on the things that make the biggest impact in their lives. And sometimes they're doing all the basics, you're doing all the right things and still not getting the results you want. And then you're stuck in this health spiral of this anxiety spiral, so to speak, of not knowing what else to try, right? Because you're doing the things, or there's a lot of conflicting, groups of people, right? Well, macros are what's most important. Well, fat's bad. Well, go eat carnivore or keto, or go eat vegan. There's all these different camps that swear that their way is the right way, the right way. And that can feel really confusing and overwhelming for people. And if you're in one of those camps and you fully believe that, but aren't getting the results you want, or you are trying to push that on everyone else, it may not be the best thing for them. It may not be the best thing for you. A personalized approach here is really important. But somebody being on social media or in a commercial or on a talk show and saying, well, it really depends because it's nuanced and everything needs to be personalized, that's not going to sell as much as somebody saying, I have the solution. Do this one thing and you're going to have your life changed because your health is going to be, so incredible. That's a lot more attractive to people, right? But ultimately, those promises tend to be a little bit empty, right? And lead people to look for the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, or give up altogether. So I wanted to share a few things today about what are some of the top foods that people are eating, or products that people are consuming. And this is intentional, right? They're kind of going out of their way to make sure they get this in, or think it's a better option than what they maybe were doing before. But these products actually aren't having the payoff most of the time that people are hoping that they're going to have. So the first one that we're going to share about is protein bars. We did a previous episode a few weeks ago, so make sure you listen to that as well, where I actually shared some protein bars, nutrition facts, and how they actually were pretty comparable to a candy bar. Just with some added protein thrown in there. These protein bars can be really highly refined, really long laundry list of ingredients. They can have a lot of sugar, a lot of unhealthy fat. They taste like a candy bar, and a lot of the time the nutrition facts actually reflect that, and then just protein is being added in on top of all of that stuff. So not all protein bars are bad, right? I rely on protein bars in my own life from time to time. They have their place, but some are basically candy bars with protein added in. So just because something has protein in it doesn't automatically make it a health food. And this is something that we talked about in last week's show about how, I see most of my people eating about 30%, most of my clients eating about 30% less protein than they need if they haven't been really intentionally trying to get protein in. But then what I see on the other end of that spectrum, whenever somebody's been working with a trainer or being, really trying to get their protein in, they're doing it in the forms of these clear protein drinks, protein coffees, protein bars, where, some studies are actually showing that kind of protein actually isn't as effective as, protein from whole, unrefined foods. So just protein bars and these convenience foods can have their place, but relying on them all of the time or thinking just because it has protein in it, it doesn't necessarily make it the healthiest, the best option all the time. Does that make sense? So the second item here is greens powders. I had a client once not eat any fruits or vegetables, but he was religious about taking his green powder every day. And he went at it with me about Not really, but kind of about this greens powder. I don't need to eat fruits and vegetables. Like I'm taking this greens powder and they say it has all these servings of fruits and vegetables in it. And so I think that that's something really careful. Most of these green powders can be very expensive. The quality needs to be checked because most supplements aren't regulated by the FDA, right? So most supplements have questionable quality in them. They can have heavy metals in them. They may not have the right ingredients that are still available to your body that they say they have because nobody's testing this, right? So knowing the quality of any kind of a green powder or fruit supplement that you're taking is really important. Has it been third party tested to make sure that what they say is in there is what you're actually getting? And then third, it's not going to be a replacement for actual fruits and vegetables. It's not a hack for that. You got to eat your vegetables still. They taste delicious, you guys, whenever they're prepared correctly. Whenever your taste buds have had a chance to adapt to real food. They taste good. But these green powders just aren't going to be a substitute. They're a supplement if you choose to include them in part of your daily routine. The third thing that people are consuming thinking that it's healthy is this like organic junk food, right? We talked about this before too. Organic gummies, gluten-free cookies, organic chips. It's still, chips, gummies, and cookies. And I'm not saying never to eat them, but they do have this health halo effect. They are still cooks. They are still cookies, chips, and gummies, or whatever else the food is at the end of the day. And like I've said before, a lot of the time, these are foods I will opt for whenever purchasing these items for my family because the ingredients list tends to be shorter, more made with ingredients that I recognize and know what they are. They're more whole foods based. And maybe they do have some more micronutrients, some more fiber, better oil quality. That stuff all matters, but just know that it's what it is, right? It's not all of a sudden this like health halo food just because it's organic, just because it's gluten-free. Organic cookies are still cookies, right? The fourth thing is smoothies and acai bowls. I love a good smoothie. I'm a very seasonal eater. I am a soup in the winter and smoothie and salad in the summer kind of gal. So we're heading into summer. I'm making smoothies pretty much every day. My kids love smoothies. I love making smoothies for my kids because it's a great way for them to really get a ton of nutrients in. But if you're going somewhere and purchasing a smoothie from a restaurant, a smoothie bar, like a frozen smoothie mix or acai bowl, or making it at home, even because I've seen recipes before that, this applies to as well. Be aware of what's going in it. If it's, the liquid in the smoothie or the acai bowl is juice, like an apple juice, you're getting a ton of sugar in that thing. Like it's probably equivalent to the amount of sugar in a soda, right? So there's ways to make a smoothie in a way that is supportive of your health and still tastes delicious, but just really be careful with all of the added sugar. Make sure you're adding some protein powder to this. We were just talking about protein, but make sure that you're, not just blending up a bunch of fruit. One of my favorite smoothie combos is going to be frozen dark sweet cherries, about that much in the blender, either a pitcher or a cup. It's going to be about a half a cup per serving. Frozen riced cauliflower. I know. I promise you won't taste it. It actually makes it kind of creamy. Great way to get cauliflower in. My kids have it all the time. And they don't know. So frozen rice cauliflower, I add water up to the top of the frozen items. I add a tablespoon of chia seeds, maybe a tablespoon of flaxseed. That helps you meet your fiber goals. You can do avocado. Our grocery store, we're in Texas, so like everyone shops at H-E-B. They sell frozen chopped avocado. So you're not even having to cut it up. It's going to be fresh whenever you're ready to use it. Throw some avocado in there. That can make it creamy. Some protein powder. We like using these like superfoods powders too. Sometimes they're kind of fun. I don't put it in the cherry one. This is a tangent, but we have like dragon fruit powder, blue butterfly pea flower powder. And we'll add like a teaspoon of that and it makes it colorful. And it also amps up the micronutrient content of the smoothie. So you can add those if you want. And then I add back to the cherry smoothie, I'll add in some cinnamon, some cocoa powder, and some vanilla protein powder. Blend it all up. It's like a chocolate covered cherry smoothie, and it's delicious. It's got veggies in it. It's not got a ton of sugar in it. So stuff like that, think about where you can add vegetables in. Google search, how to add veggies to smoothies. Google like a Hulk smoothie. Kids love that. It's green. So you've got like some like green apples, some spinach, maybe some kale, stuff like that in it. But it tastes really good too. And, the kids aren't like turned off because it's green, because it's a Hulk smoothie, right? It's cool. But really be careful with like the store-bought smoothies, from like the large chains, the acai bowls, all of that. A lot of the time they're low in protein, high in sugar. You basically are drinking a $10 soda, right? Who wants that? And then the next one is supplements as a substitute for basics. And this is the last one here. And this kind of goes back to the first thing that we were talking about. So it kind of brings us full circle here is whenever you are taking supplements, they are a supplement to the basics. So if you're trying to optimize before you have the foundations ready, if you're trying to take a shortcut without actually including the more important cornerstone things of your health, you're not going to get the results that you need, that you're really seeking. And you may even at the end of the day feel really justified and tell somebody, well, I'm doing everything right. Look at these, this crazy supplement stack, but you're missing out on the sleep. Your stress is like skyrocketing. You're not managing it well. You're not chewing your food. You're like downing acai bowls and protein bars that have a ton of sugar in them. You've got to really get those foundations in line before you add in all of these supplements. You can't hack your way to success and shortcut and bypass those foundational things that are boring, right? And tedious and require a lot of intentionality. Sometimes the most advanced thing you can do, the most optimized and shortcutty and biohacky thing you can do is to eat a balanced lunch consistently, And so sometimes just flipping how you're thinking about it can make it feel more appealing and make you actually follow through and commit and show up for yourself like you need to do. So I've already kind of like revealed this, but what actually matters more? I wanted to share a little bit more with you guys to give you some action steps, because I hope I didn't just totally deflate you by like listing all the things that you've been doing to work on your health that aren't getting you anywhere. So consistency, getting in enough protein, timing your meals that you're not crashing on energy or grabbing everything, within sight, making sure you're getting enough fiber. Sleep is not optional. Let me say it again. Sleep is not optional. Okay. You got to sleep. You've got to rest. It's a need. It's not a luxury. Rest is a need. Let yourself rest. Let yourself be flexible. You've got to be able to recover so that then you can perform. Okay. Those are the things that matter the most. I've seen this with hundreds and hundreds of patients that I've helped over the years. Those are the things that move the needle. I promise you, if you'll show up and be consistent with those things. And I know it's not easy to do that. That's why we have such a health crisis in America. Is it's difficult. It's easier to take a supplement and hope for the best, right? By making these changes, you are changing how you're showing up in your everyday life. It's going to change you. It's going to change the dynamic of your relationships. It's going to change the dynamic of your community, your social life, your job. And that's a big change. And that's why so many people struggle to get the results that they're after. So spend some time reflecting on all of that today. I know that's kind of heavy, but I hope it's also a little bit exciting. I hope you feel a little bit excited whenever you think about all that change if you've been feeling really stuck. So what are some takeaways here? Stop chasing perfection, right? Don't quit on yourself just because you had a hard day. Give yourself some grace. Pat yourself on the back, assess where things fell apart, and think through how can I, tweak this tomorrow and show up and try again. Just because the plan didn't work doesn't mean that you're not going to see success. Maybe it was a bad plan for you. Maybe the plan wasn't the right plan for you. I've said that before on here too. So stop chasing that perfection. Focus on patterns, prioritize basics. Use convenience strategically. Like I said, I love a good smoothie. I love a good protein bar. be strategic about it, right? Don't rely on all of those convenience items all the time. Use them where you really need them and be smart about it. And then don't panic over a single meal, over a single food. If you go out to dinner with people and you thought you were going to have a certain option and the restaurant's sold out of it, and then you don't know what you're going to choose, don't panic. One meal's not going to set your health, a future up for the next 10 years. It's okay. Reset the next day, reset the next meal, and keep moving forward. If nutrition has started feeling stressful or overwhelming for you, it doesn't have to be that way. Keep your chin up, hang in there. If you're in Texas, we are taking new patients over at Nourished and Thrive. We'd love to help you out. And make sure you subscribe, follow along, like this show. We've got more content coming. I know sometimes just listening to other people talking about a goal that I'm working towards helps motivate me. So keep coming back, keep listening to this, play it on a walk, play it while you're folding your laundry, just to help you reflect and keep moving forward in your health goals. You've got this, and we'll see you next week.